I'm back, life editors! If you're on my email subscriber list, then you know I've been struggling through a depressive episode from the end of April through all of May. This caused me to pause my videos on this channel and my business channel so that I could take the time to relax, recharge, and give myself a much needed mental health break. Thankfully, after a lot of emotional work, I'm finally coming out of my depression and returning to the things that I love to do, such as making videos. This video is a little weird because I'm combining my May TBR video that I recorded but never released and my June TBR. I am taking my own advice and following the idea that done is better than perfect. I am far from perfect, and I hope you'll enjoy this video and remember to give yourself some grace and compassion this month. Okay, let's rewind to May. Happy May! We're back again with the Wheel of TBR. If you're new here, I'm Sage, and this is Sage's Pages. I mostly review nonfiction books in the categories of self-development, business, and productivity. And if you've got a book recommendation, please be sure to leave it in the comments. Now, if you've been here before, then you know that this year I'm trying to take a massive bite out of my TBR. That's my to be read list. And my goal is to read 100 books in 2023. At the start of this year, I had 167 titles, and these are all printed books that I have purchased. They're getting dusty on my bookshelves, and they're very sad. So I need to be a good bookworm and read those books. Since January 1st, I have read 45 books this year. That brings my total down to 122 titles. And you know how we do this. I have a secret weapon that's helping me. It's the Life Editor Reading Challenge. Life Editor refers to my first YouTube channel for women entrepreneurs. And I have something amazing to celebrate this week. My first channel got over 10,000 subscribers. Woohoo! If you are looking for business strategies and marketing tips, then you've got to check out my first channel, Sage Grayson Life Editor. I will leave the link below so that you can watch my first channel. And thank you so much for getting us to 10,000 subscribers. Now back to the Life Editor Reading Challenge. It has 30 fun prompts that correspond to my 5-step life editing process, which is what I use with my coaching clients. As always, you can click the link below to download your copy of the Life Editor Reading Challenge so you can work on your reading goals right along with me. I took the 30 different prompts and I wrote them on these paper circles and put them on the Wheel of TBR. Every month, I give the wheel a spin and then I choose 5 prompts from the Life Editor Reading Challenge and I grab the books that correspond to those prompts from my TBR list. And of course, I always choose a few titles that don't necessarily correspond to a prompt, but I just want to read anyway. My goal is to read about 8 to 10 books every month. So far, I'm doing great, and I am well on my way to reaching my 100 books in 2023 goal. Now, we're at the end of my reading challenge because I've only got 10 prompts left, and they fit so perfectly on the Wheel of TBR. So I will pick 5 prompts for May, and then I will leave the 5 remaining prompts for June. And I will show you in June how I'm going to fill in those extra 10 spots. I've got something planned, don't worry. If I spin the wheel and it lands on one of the blank spots, I will simply choose the prompt to the left. One thing I want to note is that my reading has gone up tremendously in the past month because I'm using the library again. You can watch this video next to learn why I stopped going to the library for more than a decade and why I decided to give it a second chance. Before I spin the wheel, I want to hear from you. So leave a comment and let me know which month in 2023 do you think I will reach my goal of reading 100 books, and maybe how many books do you think I'll actually read the entire year? Ready to see what I'm reading in May? Let's give the Wheel of TBR a spin. The prompt is a book with a time frame in the title. I just had to tighten the screws at the bottom of the prize wheel because it was getting a little rickety. Anyway, the prompt of having a time frame in the title of a book means something like do this in 30 days, or within a year, or in 60 seconds. Time for prompt number 2. The prompt is a book with the word no in the title. We've done prompts like this before, so it actually has to have the word no in the title. It can't be a book about saying no or negative things. All right, prompt number 3. One of my favorites, a Law of Attraction book. That is self-explanatory, and I have a lot of Law of Attraction videos on my first channel and a lot of manifesting books in my TBR. Prompt number 4. Okay, like I said, if it lands on a blank spot, I'm choosing the one to the left. So the prompt is any book that I've been meaning to read forever. I know that's a little vague. I have like more than 100 books I've been meaning to read forever, so that'll be interesting choosing one. And the final 5th prompt. A book about grammar or editing. This prompt is close to my heart because I was a book editor for 10 years before I became a life coach. Okay, the 5 prompts from the Life Editor Reading Challenge for May are a time frame in the title, a book with the word no in the title, a Law of Attraction book, a book I've been meaning to read forever, and a book about grammar or editing. Now that I've got my 5 prompts, I'm going to dig through my TBR, make my selections, and I will be right back to share the titles with you. Hey there! If you're new here, I'm Sage, and this is Sage's Pages. If you're enjoying this video so far, please be sure to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any of my book reviews and reading challenges. Both of my YouTube channels have exploded a little bit in the past month, and I'm still reeling and trying to catch up. Sage Grayson Life Editor now has 10,000 subscribers, and Sage's Pages has just over 1,000. Thank you so much for subscribing and liking and commenting, and I'm just so pleased that you're enjoying my videos. When you subscribe and like my videos, then the YouTube algorithm pushes out my videos to other book lovers. The reason my channels are doing so well is because of you. Thanks again, and I really appreciate it. Okay, now on to the 5 books that I chose from my TBR for the Life Editor Reading Challenge. The first prompt was a book with a time frame in the title, and I chose The Bright Side, 12 Months, 3 Heartbreaks, and 1 Maybe Miracle by Catherine Bradbury. This book's title sounds very similar to Chasing the Bright Side, which I reviewed a few weeks ago. Have you seen books that have this kind of rough edge to them? I don't know what it's called, but it's very interesting because I have very few books that have this like rough and grainy edge. Cathartic, hilarious, and profoundly moving, The Bright Side broadens the way we think and talk to each other about the ordinary experiences we share. Bradbury combines grace and humanity to look at the world unflinchingly and see what makes it wonderful and absurd at the same time, and to let us all in on the secret. This book sounds a little rough with all of the stuff going wrong with the author at the beginning, but I'm hoping that the title lives up to its name and there is a bright side at the end of it. Because to be perfectly honest with you, I'm struggling a bit right now. Too much to do, too much stress, too much going on, and I could really use some uplifting stuff. The next prompt was a book that had the word no in the title, and I chose How to Heal Yourself from Depression When No One Else Can by Amy B. Scher. Ah, yes, another depression book for Sage. I know I have promised you a video recapping all of these depression books that I'm reading, and it is coming. When we're depressed, we do a bunch of things to help ourselves feel better. We do yoga, we do therapy, we do medication, and we often still don't feel better. But according to Amy B. Scher, that's not as much of a mystery as you might think. If you've done everything to heal from depression but are still stuck, you're not alone. The third prompt was a Law of Attraction book, and I'm reading How the Secret Changed My Life by Rhonda Byrne. This is what I'm talking about, where I need books that are uplifting and happy. So all of you have heard of The Secret, the movie and the book that was wildly popular and is still popular. This is a collection of stories from people who have used The Secret to get what they want. I love the idea of manifesting your dream life, and I love seeing people share their stories of positivity and optimism. Now, for the first time, Rhonda Byrne presents a compilation of the most uplifting and powerful real-life stories about The Secret's power, chosen from a decade of submissions from people just like you. How The Secret Changed My Life is about everyday people completely transforming their money, health, relationships, love, family, and career by applying the teachings of The Secret. The next prompt was a book I've been meaning to read forever, and I chose The Comfort Book by Matt Haig. I got this from the library after I read another one of Matt Haig's books that I really enjoyed about depression called Reasons to Stay Alive. I really liked that book because there are so many books out there, and I've read so many of them, about how to manage your depression in different ways and how to fix your depression or cure your depression or live with your depression or whatever. But sometimes the best books that help me are books where they're just sharing their depression and that's it. There is no task list. There's no things to do. And Reasons to Stay Alive was just that. It was his expression of his depression, and that was it. I also love the book Hyperbole and a Half, which is right here, by Ali Brosh, because she uses her illustrations to describe her depressive episodes, but there is no cure. She's just always living with depression. I've explained this in many videos on my first channel about how I have depression and it comes and goes, but it's been here since before elementary school. It's been with me my entire life. And I'm in the camp that you can't ever cure your depression if you have depressive qualities. You can just learn to manage it and function in your everyday life. And I've tried many different types of pills, but they do not work for me. So I'm in the camp where I have to find other ways to manage my emotions and my depression. And one of those ways is by reading uplifting books. So I'm very interested to read The Comfort Book because I could absolutely use some comfort right now. The Comfort Book is a collection of little parcels of hope. Gathering notes, proverbs, and stories, it gifts us with new ways of seeing ourselves, the world, and ourselves in the world. And the final prompt was a book about grammar or editing, and I chose Finishing School, The Happy Ending to That Writing Project That You Can't Seem to Get Done by Carrie Tennis and Danelle Martin. I love a good writing book as a former book editor. I shared this book with my Life Editor Academy members years ago, but I don't think I actually finished it myself. Too often, writers get tangled in self-abuse. Their self-doubt, shame, yearning for perfection, and even arrogance get in the way. In Finishing School, the writers help you overcome these emotions, blocks, and break down daunting projects into manageable pieces. Love a good success story! Now, this is the time during my TBR videos where I pick a few titles that I want to read just because. This helps me get to my goal of 10 books per month. But as I was looking through my TBR in my app, the Story Graph, and through my bookshelves, I just thought, I don't want to do this. At this point right now in the month, I don't want to just choose a whole bunch of other books and put them in a big stack on my desk. I'm going to play a little loosey-goosey for the rest of the month. And if I do read beyond these 5 books that I chose from the Life Editor Reading Challenge, I'll get them from the library, and those will just be my free-form books. I'm giving myself some grace this month because I have so much going on, and my head will literally explode if I try to box in anything else. At this season of my life, I need to take things slow, go step by step, and get my ducks in a row. Maybe you need to give yourself a break too. And if that's the case, think of what your ultimate goal is, and if there's a smaller chunk of it that you can work on. Something that will still make you feel good, but it's not pushing as hard as you might if everything were going well. All right, so wish me luck as I conquer my TBR and the Life Editor Reading Challenge. I've got my final 5 prompts for next month, plus I will be changing up the Wheel of TBR in order to choose new books. Okay, it's now June, and we're back with the Wheel of TBR. I'm continuing forward with my plan to finish my TBR, that's to be read list, and read 100 books in 2023. I started this year with 167 titles on my TBR list, and these are all printed books that I have purchased. I've read a whopping 50 books since January 1st, bringing my total down to 117 titles. As always, I'm using the Life Editor Reading Challenge worksheet. There are 30 fun prompts that correspond with my 5-step life editing process that I use for my coaching business. Click the link below to download your copy of the Reading Challenge worksheet so you can work on your reading goals right along with me. It's one of dozens of free resources in my editor's toolkit. And we have a great reason to celebrate today. This month, I have completed the Life Editor Reading Challenge. I'm reading the final 5 prompts in June. Since I already know which 5 prompts that I'm reading in June, I took them off the wheel. The first prompt is to read a book about friends or family. I chose the book In Search of Buddha's Daughters by Christine Toomley. I try to read at least one book on Buddhism every month. They come to the monastic Buddhist life from every faith and career. A policewoman, a princess, a Bollywood star, a violinist. Out of the public eye, despite hardship and even persecution, they vow to seek enlightenment in a world full of noise. So this isn't exactly a biological family, but I'm considering it a found family. The next prompt was a book that had thanks or thank you in the title. Unfortunately, I don't have a book with that phrase in my TBR, and the whole point of reading my TBR is so that I'm not buying new books. But I found a book that I think will match this prompt. I'm reading The Gratitude Diaries by Janice Kaplan. I have read this book before many years ago, and I remember liking it, so it will be nice to catch up. On New Year's Eve, journalist and former Parade editor-in-chief Janice Kaplan makes a promise to be grateful and look on the bright side of whatever happens. She realizes that how she feels over the next year will have less to do with the events that occur than with her own attitude and perspective. I would love to hear what you're thankful for today, so leave a comment and tell me, what are you grateful for? What's making you happy right now? The next prompt was to read a book by an author who had overcome adversity. So I'm reading Living Debt Free by Shannon Lee Simmons. Get rid of your debt without giving up your life. Shannon Lee Simmons knows that it is possible to have a life and pay down debt at the same time. In fact, that's the only way your debt repayment plan will work. I love hearing authors' first-person account of how they changed their lives. And this may not be like dealing with cancer or climbing a mountain, but I love hearing how people can make tiny changes while still being happy. The next prompt is a book on productivity, which I have so many. So I am reading Better Than Before by Gretchen Rubin. This is an oldie but goodie that I have read several times, and you can see all my annotations. But I definitely need a refresher, which is why it's on my TBR. Most of us have a habit that we'd like to change, and there's no shortage of advice about what to try. But as we all know from tough experience, no magic, one-size-fits-all solution exists. How can we change our habits, really? I'm a huge fan of Gretchen Rubin, so we are rounding out this final prompt with another Gretchen Rubin book. The prompt is a book about clutter or organization, and I'm reading Happier at Home by Gretchen Rubin. And I do not have the paper book cover anymore. You'll just have to imagine what the cover looks like. Many of you have probably read her best-selling book, The Happiness Project, where she goes on a year-long quest to become a happier person. Happier at Home shrinks down her challenge to being happier just in her home environment. It's not about traveling the world or buying millions of things, but just finding those happy little bits of joy right where you're at. Okay, those were the remaining 5 prompts from the Life Editor Reading Challenge. I am done with that challenge and I feel amazing. But you know I like to read an extra few books every month. So I added new circles to the Wheel of TBR with the numbers 1 through 10. And it just so happens that I have 10 bookshelves to choose from. I'll spin the wheel and choose a book from the corresponding bookshelf to round out the month. All right, let's pick 5 more books for June. Okay, bookshelf number 9. Do you think you should time me so I don't spend a long time choosing from each shelf? I just grab and go? I don't know. The first book I chose is The Power of Agency by Paul Napper. This has been sitting on my bookshelves for far too long, like most of my books. Introducing the Power of Agency, a science-backed approach to living life on your own terms. Agency is the ability to act as an effective agent for yourself, reflecting, making creative choices, and constructing a meaningful life. Ooh, we like a success book. All right, let's pick the next book. Shelf number 1. All right, this one really stuck out to me. It's Be Fearless by Gene Case. When Gene Case, chairman of the National Geographic Society and CEO of the Case Foundation, set out to investigate the core qualities of great change makers, past and present, she found 5 surprising traits that they all had in common. The subtitle is 5 Principles for a Life of Breakthrough and Purpose. I love this. I love the idea of charging forward and fearlessly going after what you want. Leave a comment and let me know, what would you do with your life if you acted completely fearlessly? Okay, next book. Shelf number 4. That was a little difficult because I've read almost all of the books on shelf 4. But I ended up choosing Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. Ooh, a classic. And this also gets me out of reading strictly self-development books. We're reading a novel. By his own account, he must have lived his life among some of the wickedest men that God ever allowed upon the sea. And the language in which he told these stories shocked our plain country people almost as much as the crimes that he described. Pirates, treasure, adventure. Sounds like just the thing to get me out of my slump. All right, next book. Shelf number 6. We must be sticking with a spooky theme because I chose Tiny Crimes, edited by Lincoln Mitchell. This is a compilation of short stories, very short tales of mystery and murder. I had started reading this a long time ago, but didn't get past the first story. I love the creepy illustrations too. These bite-sized murder mystery stories are also very different from the types of books I normally read. I'm getting all out of my comfort zone this month. And the final book. Shelf number 2. I couldn't resist because we seem to be on a theme right now. I chose Tiny Nightmares, edited by Lincoln Mitchell. Similar to Tiny Crimes, these are very short tales of horror. If you're someone who's pulled in a lot of directions and you don't have the luxury of being able to read for hours at a time, then you might consider getting some short story collections. Then you can read in those little pockets of time that you do have. This book doesn't have creepy illustrations, but there is blood like on every page. All right, those are all the books I'm reading in June. Thank you so much for sticking around as I finish the Life Editor Reading Challenge. But I still have lots more books to devour from my TBR list for the rest of the year. Now I want to hear from you. Leave a comment below and let me know what you're reading this month and if you have any book recommendations that I should add to my TBR list. And if you want to start your own reading challenge, then please click the link below to sign up for my free Editor's Toolkit. You'll get dozens of free printables, including the Life Editor Reading Challenge worksheet, plus ebooks, workshops, and my favorite tools and resources. Just click the link below to get it all for free. Want more? Watch this video next for 3 life-changing books to spring clean your mind.